All right, thank you for joining us to the 2024 Leagues Cup post-game press conference. We're joined by Austin FC head coach Josh Wolff. Please raise your hand if you have a question, and of course, state your name and outlet that you're representing. Go ahead, Phil.
Phil West with Verde all day. Congrats on the win.
Thanks.
So tempted to ask if it's time for Austin FC to join Liga MX, but seriously, what is it about this competition that's bringing this out in Austin that we haven't maybe seen at points during the season?
I think there's a number of reasons. Again, I think we started the season, I think 24 games where we had 14 or 15 field players, and I've stressed that from the beginning. It's inadequate, but we had to do that in order to bring players in the summer. We had to leave the roster light, and that has a big effect over the course of a season. When you hit busy schedules and you hit international and you have any kind of injuries, you just don't have the numbers, and you lose quality at moments with international. You lose quality with Seba missing 6, 7, 8 games with illness or injury and suspension. But we need a full roster like most teams, and as we've gotten some added quality, which immediately adds competition to the group, there is an uptick, and this performances have been trending this way for me the last 4 or 5 weeks, the 4 or 5 games. If I think about New York City and Seattle and Charlotte, these are games in Dallas as well. These are games where the team's playing really, in a good way and is competitive and doing the things that we need to. Each game has different requirements. You're home and away, you're playing against different types of opponents, but I think the combination of additional players, more competition, obviously performing in the moment, doing what's needed, scoring goals when they're there, being opportunistic, but also I think we showed our quality and our class at both ends of the field in both games. So a lot of credit goes to the players, but it's a grind. This league's difficult. We've started a little bit shorthanded, and we've had to hang in there. And now I think over the last 4 or 5 games, you've kind of seen that build, and we beat 2 of the very best in Mexico. It's 2 games. We have a next opponent next week. It's not anything to get carried over about. We know where we're at in the league. We want to continue to compete and push in that. It's extremely important as well. So we'll enjoy tonight. We'll get to work in a couple days, and we'll focus on the next opponent when we find out who it is.
Yeah, and then obviously a lot more kind of defensive focus tonight. Monterrey gets 3-1 possession in first half, 9 shots to 2, but doesn't seem like they're particularly threatening. Seems like y'all keep good defensive shape, and then obviously get the opportunities springing on for the 2 goals in the second half. Just kind of thoughts about that defensive approach.
Yeah, I think it's you have to be aware of who the opponent is. You have to be aware of who you are. We've talked about this a lot. You guys have reminded me the amount of shots we go up, a lot from distance, a lot from bad angles, a lot are blocked from outside the box, and they're a very good team. You don't want to give them too many shots from anywhere on the field. They have quality, same as Pumas. The quality around the field, it's not just the Mexican players. They're extremely good, but you got, like us, you have Argentinians, Uruguayans, Chileans. There's a mixed bag of players and extremely talented players. So you have to be diligent. We have to change structure at times, and I think we've shown our tactical flexibility. But ultimately, execution inside our penalty box and execution inside the opposition's penalty box. These things decide games, and we're not getting carried away. We don't get too bummed out and deterred as well when it goes the other way. But these are 2 big wins, and we want to continue to move forward. The guys are you see the spirit. You can see what they're doing, and it was a solid performance from a number of guys.
Colby Gordon, Austin American Statesman. The past 5 days, would they rank as maybe kind of one of the top 5 moments in a very brief club history? If you take out what happened 2022.
Yeah. Well, I think 2022 is a monumental year, and it's probably, in some ways, it was extremely. It was incredible in many ways, and we exceeded so many expectations. It created a false expectation. It is tough to win in this league. It's tough to have consistency. It's tough to be a front runner in this league year over year. You have to continue to build. You have to continue to evolve. But these 4 or 5 days have been good. I look at 22 as a monumental year with many very memorable moments. So beating 2 Mexican teams in Leagues Cup is good. Monterrey's champions multiple times in various ways. So, I think the guys deserve a lot of credit. And again, we got to enjoy the moment, but we got to move on quick. It's a tournament, and the next game, elimination. So, for the good that you've done in 2 games, you got to freshen up and focus in on we'll take a look at whoever we have in the next set. But really pleased with the effort. And again, a lot of the credit goes obviously to the players' execution.
How big is Gallagher? I think he played 3 positions tonight, and and then he keys the counter there with a brilliant cross.
Yeah,
So.
I think this is what we know Johnny as. He's been with us. He's been a forward for us. He's been a winger. He's been a fullback. Last year we moved around in a different structure. He was a wing back at times. So he's a grinder and he's a worker. I think at the end of the day he takes on everything. He only wants to please us. He's a pleaser. He will do anything and everything for the club and for his teammates. It's just another example of the type of character and personality that the group has. And he's been influential in many ways. Again, I look at last game and how he defended. He was defending Huerta at times, and these are high-level players. And we put Biro and Johnny up against the very best in the league, and they do just fine. And that's the sign of certainly the quality, the resilience, and he's a winger by trade that we transition into a fullback, and now he's a little bit higher up the field. Again, he adds immediate. It adds competition, and I think the arrival of Buka has helped. Our natural wingers were O'Brien and Ethan, and that's all we had. We lost Emmy. We moved him so that we could bring in somebody, but that's what we're talking about. And now Johnny gives some competition. He brings a different quality and speed. He wants to score goals. He's done that for us. So pleased by his performance, but there were a number of really standout performances.
Eric McCoy, Football in Vivo. Congrats on the win, Coach.
Thanks.
How would you rate the out-of-possession work from Ring and Pereira tonight?
I think the game starts, and we try to frame with these guys what this game will look like, who the opposition is. They're a very fluid, very difficult team to build pressure on. They have a lot of different, they change their orientation as far as who's on the ball. Center mids drop in the back line, center mids pop out wide, attacking mids pop out wide. So your direct opponent is constantly changing. So you have to have some malleability defensively. Danny and Alex, by and large, have to protect the back line, but when players leave the middle, they may have to go with them. But it was difficult in the first half. There was large stretches where we don't have the ball, but that's part of the deal. You're playing against a good team. You want to minimize the things that they want to get and get at. Transition was always going to be something. We keyed in on that, just as we have against teams like this, LA Galaxy to some degree, Dallas to some degree, that really bring a lot of numbers and move around. Transition is always going to be a problem because they're just moving pieces. And we had a number of chances to only get one. We had a number of chances in transition. And we've hit on that in the last month or so, and it's good to see it work, the work pay off. Against Pumas, we did a good job. Tonight, we did a good job. But you have to be mindful of who you have, the way you want to go about the game, and ultimately where the vulnerabilities of the opposition are. The guys exploited that tonight nicely.
Great, thank you. And then how are you feeling about your defensive depth right now? It seems like you have a lot of options there right now.
It's a big change from past years, for sure. So it's good. I think Alexander will adapt. It's physically it's challenging. He's coming into the heat and the humidity. He's been able to get on the field and do some work. Again, I love that he's close to the group and he's seeing it. And being close to the games and certainly the training sessions and the players. But sure, we got 5 center backs. We have probably 5 fullbacks. So. Center mids, we got Alex, Pepe, Jojo, and Owen. So there's certainly some depth. Again, wingers, we've been running with Ethan and Obi as our wingers. So Buka is much needed. Johnny gives us another, somewhat of another option there. Owen's played there just because we haven't had other players, and we just got to keep riding and grinding, and that's part of it. So guys are performing well. We got to keep moving forward.
Josh. The next game, my question to Fernando was to coach on, to Rayados coach was about the copy-paste of the game you guys play. It seems like the next game is going to be against an MLS team. Right now, Vancouver is winning, so it may be LAFC. Well, how to play an MLS team that they already know you, they already, you play already with them. How to face an MLS team on the next round?
Like anything, we'll prepare. Whether you know the opponent or don't know the opponent, our process doesn't change. We'll get information in front of the players, as we always do, what the team looks like, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and we'll formulate a strategy and try to go out and execute.
What do you think about the Mexican teams? Are basically Atlas won is the only one that has won, and they keep underestimating MLS teams. What do you think about that?
I don't think about it. I think it's a competition. We're playing in the United States. It's challenging. So these are good teams. I don't give it too much thought.
Now, when are you going to go back to the fans and share with them? I mean, this was like a real good moment to.
Yeah, no,
to
I think
go.
we all do. The players do a great job celebrating with them, and
Yeah, but you're supposed to go there.
No, I certainly give fans my appreciation, and again tonight it's a great example of what it looks like. We've said it for a number of games, not just the supporter section, but throughout the stadium. Monterrey brought a lot of fans as well. It's tough to go on the road in this league. It would be tough to go down to Mexico and play in front of some of these fans. It's tough to come to Q2. I think that's the reality. It's not an easy place to play. The energy's great. We have a lot of appreciation for the fans, so I'm not sure what you're talking about, but they come out and support and push. It's been fantastic. So again, everything they give us, has been fantastic, and I think the players give back in a really. Thanks for the question.
Dessler seemed like he was struggling a little bit before he came out. Obviously, he's still adjusting to the heat. He's talked about that. Probably wasn't going to go full 90. So were you kind of aware that change was going to need to happen? Was Gally prepared to jump in at right back towards the end there?
Yeah, I mean, we did very similar last game. So, that's, what Johnny gives us flexibility. He was a left back for us all of 22 and most of, times in 23. So he's certainly comfortable being a left back or left wing back or right wing back. So it's a great it's a great thing to be able to do. We knew Mikel wasn't going to make it. We looked at getting him 30 minutes, possibly 60 minutes, and then today 75 minutes max. So you got to keep in mind these. He got married in the off season. His season ended in mid-May, the end of May. He's had 2 to 3 weeks maybe here in Austin. So responsibly, we have to go about these games in a good way. And it's, again, like I said, it's nice. You have added quality, which brings competition, which brings depth, and I think that's what we're seeing, and it's really paying off.
I'm going to take a Zoom question from Ben Wright. Wins against Pumas and now Monterrey have Austin's performance as one of the league's best in MLS clubs so far in Leagues Cup. How much of a momentum boost is this, both in this tournament and then once MLS plays resumes in August?
Yeah, it's certainly momentous right now. Again, I would still say the course of 4 or 5 games in the league, as I mentioned previously, the win against New York City, difficult game against Seattle, a very winnable game against Dallas on the road, Charlotte again at home. Playing in these games, competing the way that we know, the results are there. We didn't quite get the results we probably wanted to, or maybe deserved in those moments. But now you've seen 2 strong performances in different ways, and whether we're up, whether we're down a guy or it's even, the spirit and the camaraderie, the commitment, and ultimately those things are big requirements. But the ability to play the game and the requirements and meet the requirements of the game, both tactically, physically, the quality that now the players have brought in these games has been fantastic, and players will thrive in an environment where you're able to perform, but results matter. These guys know that, they feel that, and when they get goals and they, the energy inside the group individually grows, the group grows, and the performances, these last 4 or 5 performances, and certainly these last 2 results, give the players confidence. But we're not going to get carried away. It's 2 good performances, 2 good results in League Cup. We'll wait to see where our fate lies, and if we're going on the road or we're playing at home. And we want to keep getting the group ready and in a better physical state. And that's getting Buka back into the group and Mikel and Alexander and, again, continue to improve.
And we'll close that out with Colby from the statement.
And just from a big picture perspective, how important is it just to...
Thank you, guys.
By the way, Vancouver still up 2-0.